All right. So I think so. Okay, there's me, Director of Experiential Education. We don't need to look at that very much. All right. We kind of, when we think about attending a job and internship fair, there's, I know you're probably thinking day of, right? Absolutely. There's actually things you should do before the day of so that you're very prepared for the day of. You'll also be less nervous the day of if you've done some preparation work beforehand. So obviously, you're going to bring your resume to the job and internship fair, right? How many people here feel like their resume is in really good shape? It's ready to go like right now. Not as many hands as I was thinking. Okay. So some of you, it's ready to go. Good. You can check this off. Totally okay if you feel like your resume needs a little work, right? It needs an update. Or you just want someone to review it who knows what they're looking at and can give you some advice. Absolutely, you want your resume to be the best it can possibly be because this resume is your skills, your competencies relevant to what you're interested in applying for, be it internship or full-time job, right? So between now and the fair, right, on the 18th, you've got some time to have your resume reviewed. We've got a few ways that you can do that. You can schedule an appointment with your career advisor, right? Um, who here? So we've got co-god students here. Okay, got a few co-god students. And then everybody else. Do we have any law students here? Do I have any law students? No? Okay, great. So everybody in the room is using Handshake. You can use Handshake to schedule your appointment. If you're like, I don't know exactly who my career advisor is, Handshake knows who your advisors are. Okay. So when you log in to make an appointment in Handshake, it's going to show you the schedules and availabilities of your career advisor. So you can schedule with a career advisor. I'm going to say this, it is September, early September. This is the busiest month of the entire 12-month year for career advising appointments, right? So if you log in right now and you go, it's going to take me a week to see a career advisor, true, for about September and probably half of October, right? After that, you usually can get within the same week, get an advising appointment. But that is absolutely an option. We know that a lot of people want their resumes reviewed for the fair. So we've got two other options for you. Every day, Monday through Friday, 5 days a week in the library, we have career advisors from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. in what room? It's room, what is it? One. But what's it called? Like collaborative workroom one. So on the main floor, you walk into the library and just kind of head to the left, right? Once you go past the desk. In collaborative workroom one, 1 to 3, we've got a career advisor there and they're looking at a lot of resumes and that's totally great. Okay. So that's an option. Again, we're seeing higher than normal volumes, which is great in that students are using it, but sometimes there's a little bit of a wait, right? A couple of other options for you. The reason I kind of came dashing in a few minutes before is I do drop-in appointments in Kerwin Hall, 10 a.m. to noon every Tuesday. Just go to that, if you're in Kerwin Hall in the main, walk into the building, you'll see a reception desk there. Just ask, it's usually Nick. Just say, Nick, I'd like to talk to Brian. Is he available? And I'll come out of the conference room. They have me in, and we can sit down, in the conference room and review your resume. And then Tammy Katzoff, who's the main SPA advisor. You don't have to be SPA, by the way, to use this, but she does 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Kind of same time as the library. So if the library long's really long, if it's like, oops, I'm not sure I'm going to be seen today, head to Kerwin, ask the front desk, can I talk to Tammy, right? And then 1 to 3, right? So drop-in options for you. Drop-in options in for SIS. Any SIS students here? Yep, great. Not only SIS though, in the lobby, in the atrium of the SIS building. There are also drop-ins actually quite frequently.
Yeah, Monday through Thursday in person, I think 12 to 2, and then they do virtual Tuesday through Friday, 2 to 5.
So, right. So you can go to the atrium in SAS 12 to 2 most days, right? So there's a lot of career advisors available for kind of walk-in, drop-ins, right? Um, and then we have next week, because it's already next week is the fair, right?
Yep.
So Monday, the Career Center is doing virtual drop-ins. Emily, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we host, they're called Resume Station, so you might have seen it in Handshake, but it is just drop-in advising, about 15, 20-minute appointments, and for the sole purpose of preparing for the fair. So you're bringing your questions about the fair, your resume to prepare for the fair. We have all of our career advisors. It's going to be virtual online Zoom, so that link is going to be in Handshake. In person on Tuesday, we'll be in the Career Center. So as Brian said, one floor below us. And we have, it's all hands on deck. So we have, 8 advisors who will be reviewing resumes. So we get a lot of students through. We can do resume reviews, answer some quick questions you have about the fair. So after attending all of these prep events, any last minute questions you might have, you're welcome to join us downstairs for those. So Monday from 2 to 5 p.m. on Zoom, and Tuesday from 1 to 4 p.m. in person downstairs. I saw your hand. You had a question?
When we talk about bringing these resumes, are you saying that should we bring like printed copies?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. Absolutely. So you're going to bring multiple copies of your resume to the fair, right? So again, we want it to look really sharp.
Yeah, so that's next Tuesday, the 17th, from 1 to 4 p.m. and downstairs in the Career Center, which is on the 5th floor of this building, the Butler Pavilion building. And you'll just come to the front desk. We'll check you in. There might be a bit of a wait since we do see, I will say 1 o'clock is usually the busiest. So if you have time a little bit later, the wait maybe will have dwindled down, but you're also welcome to come at 1. You'll get the first 8 people in. It's first come, first serve, both virtual and in person. But it's a great opportunity right before the fair to kind of ask those last minute questions, get another set of eyes on your resume.
So that way you've had your resume critiqued. They may have recommendations for you. They may have not. Sometimes I have a few recommendations for improvement for a resume. And sometimes, again, you might not think it's ready to go. It might be ready to go, but it's nice to have another set of eyes taking a look at that, right? So then you're going to obviously, print multiple copies of your resume. And we'll talk a little bit about sort of how many and that sort of thing. More on before the fair, right? Think about visual first impressions. So I will say a lot of people at the GIF will be dressed in what I would say more business attire, right? So you'll see more suits in the room than you usually see during a typical day at AU, right? If you don't have a suit, that's okay. The way I sort of think of it is the employer should look and go, okay, obviously they knew they were coming today to an event where there's going to be employers and we're going to talk about internships or jobs. Okay. So, I once saw a student walk up to the desk and say to the employer, sorry, I'm dressed in, sweatpants. I didn't know this was today. Not the greatest thing to say to an employer, right? I know it's hard to keep track of everything, but obviously you all know when the fair is, right? You're not going to be surprised by it because you're in this room right now. But you want to give that good visual impression. So think neat, think clean, and it's not a run-of-the-mill day, right? You're going to be dressed a little different than that. I I just want to leave that open to your interpretation. If you have very specific questions, you can speak with me or Emily if you want to do that. But you will see a lot of suits, right? Not everybody has a suit. If you are, do I have first year students in the room? Fantastic. Great. Now, you might not be looking for an internship right now. You just might want to come and see what this is like so that maybe next year or the year after that, when you're like, okay, now I'm in it, right? I'm looking for an internship. Um, you've seen it all done before. And you know what? You're like, oh, I didn't bring a suit to AU. I just have been here 2 weeks. That's okay. If you have a dress shirt, right? Um, you know, try not jeans, probably that sort of thing, not shorts. I think that's fine too, right? We tell the employers that we strongly encourage first year students to come, even just to check it out and to kind of begin to explore. And by the way, the employers are really like, that's really great because a lot of schools, it's always like seniors and stuff, right? So they do appreciate that. But think about your appearance, right? I've had students come up to me and they felt like, oh, I'm not dressed right, right? And they're seeing everybody else kind of dressed up, and then they feel like that it almost gets in their head, like, oh, I don't, and then that's going to kind of come through to the employer, right? So do what you need to do to feel good about your appearance the day of. Now, that might mean I bought myself a new suit 2 weekends ago because I took the old one out a few weeks ago and I was like, well, the moths have found my wool suit, right? So be careful about taking it out the morning of thinking, I've got a good outfit. Mr. Moth may have found your suit, right? It looks like Swiss cheese, the arm, because the moths have eaten the wool, right? So I had time to go get a suit, and that takes a couple weeks. They have to do some tailoring to it and everything. It goes in the queue with all the other people getting suits. So, again, maybe tonight, take a look, think about what you're going to wear. Does it look good? Do you need to get it dry cleaned or, anything like that pressed so that it's not wrinkled, that sort of thing, right? You know, belts, shoes, all of that. Think about that, okay? And do it ahead of time so that doesn't stress you out the day of.
Getting very, very dark on it.
Oh, okay. Uh-oh. Oh my gosh. Here we go. There we go. Okay, sorry. The next thing to do before the fair is research the employers that are coming, right? So that the day of the fair, you walk in and go, these are the 8, 9, 10 employers that I want to speak to today, right? There will be a map provided, so you'll be able to even like sit there and kind of go, here's this one, here's this one. You'll be able to write on it. We used to do electronically. We found students much prefer, and alums much prefer like a paper one. No problem. We're going to provide paper. So, but know who's coming, right? And then you're going to take notes on that, right? So who's coming? You'll be able to log in a Handshake.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see a list. We used to, it's easy. You're going to find a spreadsheet link. You'll be able to go, if you're an international student, right? You're probably curious who is willing to hire. If you're an intern looking for an internship for CPT, if you're graduating, you may be interested in OPT. We've asked them if they're able to, for instance, post OPT. So you'll see employers who have said yes, no. Also, are you willing to hire a first-year student? Are there any Cornerstone students in the room? Nope. Okay. Cornerstone students are first-year students in a special program. Are you willing to hire a first-year student? They've indicated yes. You'll kind of be able to search, right? I'm looking for an internship. If you don't have an internship, I can kind of filter you out. Who's looking for internships? You'll be able to search for all of that within that link on Handshake. Okay. So do your research beforehand. If you find, we're going to have what, 90 to 100 employers,
Yeah,
do you
probably
think?
over 100.
Over 100? Okay. So yeah, sometimes
We're 97.
oh, we're at 97. Okay. Now, day of, we might have a cancellation or two. That happens. Be prepared. Sometimes we even have a miscommunication and someone
Extra.
surprises us, shows up, right? But we're going to have, let's say, 100 plus employers. Of course, you're not going to be totally interested in all those employers. So look through, find the ones you're interested in. If you say, Brian, I only found 4 that I'm interested in, well, that's 4 employers you're interested in one place, right? You can make a visit, have conversations with those. So ahead of time, go in, and that may, how many resumes are you going to make? I would say if you're like, I'm going to talk to 10 employers from this list, make some extra because you never know. Sometimes you walk by and you're like, wait a minute, like, let me actually talk to these folks. So you're going to make more than you're expecting to use for that question. What a nice question. I'm glad you're thinking about cover letters. In this case, do not worry about cover letters. They're not expecting it. That'd be a lot of writing, right, to do. And again, now is the time for you to have, it's almost like, but in a way, have what you would be talking about in your cover letter in your head as you think about your professional introduction, right? If you're talking to a recruiter and you're like, I've got some good experiences that according to like what they're looking for, this is good. You want to be able to speak about that, but you don't need to write a cover letter for the job fair. Okay. So it's very resume focused. I would bring your resumes in a folder, maybe have the resumes on one side and the other side, they're going to be giving you things, right? They're going to be like, oh yeah, you're interested in that. Take this, so you want to have something you can neatly put things in and carry around, right? I do want to say something about backpacks, for instance. I know you've got a million things to do, even the day of the fair. We don't have like formal backpack storage, for instance. So just think about, like if you can kind of slim down the back, you can walk around with it, but then sometimes you feel like this, right? Hi, nice to meet you. So just think about, can you kind of slim it down the day of, right? So we don't provide, kind of backpack storage, for instance.
And it is, I mean, this is a very busy fair. I think last fall over 1,600, over 2,000 students attended. So keep that in mind, like when you're carrying stuff too, is like, do you want your backpack while you're trying to navigate and weave through kind of hundreds of students at a time?
But we know sometimes you just have
You
to.
have
You've
to,
got,
yeah, absolutely.
like we know we're not saying don't bring it. Maybe make it lighter that day if you possibly can, right? So, and look, if you have your backpack on, no, they get it. You're students or alums, right? And you may be kind of moving here and there. That's okay. But again, just for your kind of, your mental state, just try to maybe make it lighter that day if you have to bring it. Okay. Thank you for that segue with cover letters. Your professional introduction, right? So I know this makes people a little nervous, but I do want you to think about what you're going to say to the recruiter as you approach them. Now, they're not going to sit there completely silently, and you have to kind of give a speech to them. Not at all. This is an interaction. But think about, hello, thanks for coming today. Thank them for coming, right? Some of them have come, within DC to be here. Some are actually much farther away to come, and we can talk a little bit about what their job is and what their role is in a sec. But think about introducing yourself, your name, maybe a bit about your major, your academic course of study, if it's really relevant to the job, right, or your interests. And then you kind of quickly want to talk about what it was about that employer that interested you, right? But think about, hi, nice to meet you. My name is Brian. I'm a junior in the School of International Service, and I'm really interested in internships that focus on Latin America or Latin America issues with Latin America, right? So like that little sort of a thing, and that might be a little different, for your different employers. So that's okay too. But that's why that research ahead of time, who you kind of want to see. You've done some research on the website, and that's going to be very helpful. Question.
I apologize if you answered this already, but will there be an updated list of employers accessible before the fair?
Yes. So in Handshake, right? If you're going to RSVP, you'll see the link,
Yep.
right? So if you found the Job and Internship Fair in Handshake, you'll see a link that will open up is it Google Doc or
Yeah, I think an Excel, like a
yeah, it's an Excel
spreadsheet.
sheet. Yep. And then you'll be able to filter it too, right? Based on what they're looking for. Yes. Or their website, right? I would go to their website. They do have, if they're full-time or part-time or
And that-
internships.
Yep. And majors that they're looking for.
If they're looking for majors,
specific.
specific majors. I will say the vast majority of employers are not looking for like just a handful of majors.
Yeah.
The most common indicator they hit is all, right? There will be a few, that are focused in maybe a little accounting, a little finance, that sort of thing. But most of them say all, right?
And in Handshake too, if you click on the employer and go to their profile page, so from the job fair, you see that whole list of employers. You can click on their profile, and it will also show if they've posted any internships and jobs in Handshake. And so that's another opportunity to, as Brian was saying, research what they might have available and what you're interested in.
Right, because in Handshake, then you can go to you see what they've put in Handshake,
Yeah.
and then also go to their website, right?
Saw
And
your
take a look.
hand go up.
Oh, do we have another hand? A question?
Your hand went. Were you going to ask something or no? Sorry, put you on the spot.
Are there specific internships or opportunities that are geared specifically for underclassmen, or if not, then how many of the other ones will accept the freshmen?
Yeah, so that is something on the sheet that you can see, right? I will say again, bravo to go to the fair to check it out. The Career Center, this is our official stance, and we believe in this, is that we don't expect you to arrive as a first-year student and immediately go to an internship, right? Like, we want you to get settled on campus. We want you to join a club or organization because actually the employers later on like that sort of thing, right? So really, become part of campus, get the feel of it. However, I know some of you are ready for an internship in your first year. That's totally okay, right? And we'll help you with that. But please don't think that the expectation from the Career Center or actually any part of campus is that, hey, you really need to get an internship in your first year, except if you're in this program called Cornerstone, and nobody's in here. So I'm not going to go into detail about that. Question in the back.
They usually send to
Getting there.
Excellent, excellent. Yep, you know what? I'm going to move to the next slide because actually we're going to talk about that. Okay. Great question. So day of the GIF, right? You're looking very sharp and professional. You've got your list of employers you researched. You've got multiple resumes. You're ready to go. You're going to take a math, right? Once you see it. So because most of you haven't been to a fair like this, I want to talk a little bit about navigating. It's a big space. It's Bender Arena. So kind of downstairs where the basketball happens. Big, right? Now, we can't go on the basketball court. So that's blocked out, right? So it kind of goes around the basketball court, okay? We've got a nice amount of employers. So I think the spacing will be kind of nice because it's about 100, let's say maybe a little bit more than that. So there's room, right? But there's going to be a lot of students, a lot of alumni who are going to be there. So it will be noise, people, lots of that. Okay. So, that's what it's going to be. I would say, grab a map, make your notes. We do have a quiet space on the mezzanine level. So the mezzanine level is going to be where you enter the fair, right? You're going to come through you're going to check in. I'm going to be managing student check-in and alumni check-in. So you're going to see me and my team there, right? You're going to come through, bring your AUID, right? That's easiest. You don't have to, but it's nice if you have your ID. It makes it really fast. You'll scan in, right? And be logged in. And then you're going to go through on that mezzanine level and then go downstairs to the fair. If you need a minute or 2 or 10 or 15, just to kind of bring it back down again, right? No problem. So you can be out on the fair talking to a couple of employers, maybe also after a conversation, you're like, I need a quiet space, go upstairs to the mezzanine, maybe take some notes, right? But it's going to be kind of draped off, right? Kind of bring down the sensory, experience, right? There will be a murmur from the floor, so it won't be totally quiet, but it's a much, much more sort of relaxed space. Go up there, take some notes, take a minute, right? If you need to reset, you're more than welcome to do that. Be prepared for lines. So if you're interested in, is Diane coming?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if you're interested in the Central Intelligence Agency, guess what? A lot of students at AU are also. So that's going to be a big line, right? So, if you've got like, oh, I want to see 20 employers, maybe, you have to think about your timing, right? So if you wait and CIA tends to bring a few people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, there's not like you're talking to one person, and we'll talk in a sec about kind of the people they bring or any org brings. But there may be lines, right? So, and you're in line, and then the person ahead of you is talking, and then it's your turn to kind of have a brief conversation. So you might get 2 minutes, 3 minutes, right? You're going to have to make the most of that. There's going to be three people behind you, kind of the line is going to happen. Um, Not every single employer will have a line all the time, but there will be some lines. You will encounter some lines. Think about maximizing that time with that recruiter, right? What I've seen, very successful students say, I was looking on your website and I saw this description of this internship program. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Or I notice you're hiring, you're interested in political science, right? Students, or, I see you're hiring all majors, but people who have the, experience with policy or, European Union politics, right? Um, then they immediately go, oh, this person has looked at the website. I don't have to have the basic conversation with them. We can move right to kind of the good stuff, right? Because I've also seen a student come up and go, what does the CIA do? Right? And then the recruiters are going to tell you, but they're on this like very automatic, like, okay, let me do the really basics, but you're eating up those 3 minutes with kind of that's why we want you to do the work ahead of time, right? Take a look at the website, read up on it. So you can have that higher level 3 minutes. Some employers are you could say, may I leave my resume with you? Or they may ask you, can I, do you have your resume? Sometimes, don't be surprised, they might take your resume, turn it over, because it's one-sided, right? One page. They're going to turn it over and they might start making notes. That's a good sign. Okay. If they start doing that, again, engage in the conversation, right? So, um, but I just, think about that. There may be some lines. It might be, don't, if you have to because of class, let's say you arrive at 3 o'clock. So I would say around 3:30, some employers are going to start leaving, even though the fair is until 4. They may be like, I gotta beat trap, whatever. So try to go as early as you can, but if you get there at 3, you really want to prioritize those employers. Let's talk about employers. We had a great question from the back of the room. Who are the employers, right? This is great to think about because who is this person you're interacting with? First of all, whoever it is, whether it's an HR person, it might be a manager, right? Who's actually from the department that's hiring the intern or, hiring a staff member. Sometimes it's one of each. But whoever it is, their motivation for coming to the fair is to source a group of high quality candidates. Okay. So they're there. So that's why they're not just going to stand there and not talk to you while you do your professional introduction. They're going to interact because they need to leave the fair with like a good set of high quality candidates. And then they're going to go down to GW and do it. They might go to Georgetown. They might go to Maryland, George Mason, Howard. They're doing multiple of these, right? And then maybe elsewhere in the country. But that is their motivation. So you might have HR people, right? And the HR person might be like, well, we're hiring 30 different people in 20 different departments. So they can give you a bit, right, of that. They can also talk really well, HR people, about the process of applying, right? The timelines of applying. You might talk to someone who's more of a manager. Some organizations, very big organizations, sometimes U.S. government organizations will have more of a program manager there, right? And maybe they're detailed to do this for 2 years, right? So it might be, well, I normally work in this area, but I'm on this rotation to do recruiting for a couple of years. So they've been trained how to do that and trained to talk broadly about the organization. So yeah, so it may be a bit of there may be different types of folks there. Some of the HR folks are much more specialized as recruiters. This is all they do all year long, right? So they're very knowledgeable about the whole organization and the hiring and recruiting trends. Does that help with like who's going to be there? So again, we don't know for sure at each table, but there will be a variety throughout the fair. Again, I talked about why they're there. They need to source good candidates, right? So you want to do everything you can to make yourself one of those candidates. I will say, now don't rest on the laurels, but the recruiters tend to tell us that AU produces they're usually very impressed with our students' knowledge and preparation. So please continue that tradition, right? But we tend to get and we solicit feedback from the employers. What did we do well? What went well, what didn't go so well, what's something we can improve. And a lot of the employers give us this feedback, and we usually get very high marks for student preparation. Okay. So thank you for that. Again, what should you talk about with those employers? You want to talk about your skills and experience and interest. And having looked at their website, if they have job listings or internship listings, you've reviewed those. So you can speak very specifically to that. So let's say there's 7 employers on your top 7. Here are the ones I want to talk to. You go to each of their sites. Maybe 6 of them have an internship that you're interested in. Take a few notes, right? And it's okay to glance at your notes in your binder for a sec and go, oh, this employer, they have an interest in students who have some experience in policy. I'm going to talk about that, right? It's okay to have short little notes for yourself for those employers. I guarantee you, if an employer sees you open up your book and read something you've written, they're going to be impressed because that looks really prepared. You've thought about this ahead of time. That's really, really a plus. Okay. And then eye contact, smile, handshake. That's that first impression. First impressions are made very quickly within a few seconds, right? Smile, thank them for coming, shake hands. Some folks won't shake hands. That's okay. That's all right. Greet them. If you don't want to shake hands, don't shake hands. That's okay. But again, that thank you, hello, thank you for being here, that sort of thing. And then you can begin the conversation with them, which will be a back and forth. Okay? But think about items you'd like to cover about yourself and your experience and interests while you're engaging with that employer for a few minutes. Every now and then, maybe the employer isn't really busy right then. You might get a little bit longer time. That's great. That's great. But do prepare for it to be kind of a short interaction. Oh, oh, oh. All right. Did I cover everything? Again, think about your appearance, right? And that you're happy with your professional appearance. Again, we talked a bit about kind of questions and responses. They may have very specific questions they may look at your resume and go, oh, tell me a little bit more about this, right? So be prepared to speak about whatever is on your resume, right? Be very conversant with your resume. That shouldn't be a surprise. There may be a few employers, sometimes government employers can't take a resume, right? Don't feel like, oh, they don't want my resume. Federal employers, they can't, right? You have to apply because that may be misconstrued by, an applicant as, oh, I've applied because they took the resume from me, right? Federal government folks, you have to apply through usajobs.gov. Okay. So it's okay. Don't feel bad if the federal employee can't take it. They might not even want to look at it. That's okay. That's a federal government thing. And there may be other employers. Follow up. We have a question up here and then over there. Go ahead.
I've done a little bit stuff with career science. I talk about particular questions and kind of methodology prepare when in one-on-one internships. Do you think we'll see any of those more advanced questions sometimes in these job fair experience?
Good question. So the nature of the kind of questions, how in-depth involved they would be. I would say so. It's not really an interview, right? So probably not. They're not going to. There may be a kind of there may be something on your resume that they're really like, oh, this is excellent, and they may dig a little bit there, right? Which may seem slightly interviewish. That could happen, I think, but for the most part, again, they're sourcing very positive potential candidates for this pool, and then you're going to move through a process, right? Now, question over here. Right. You can always offer, and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, we can't take." That's fine. But you feel free to offer it. It's okay. What usually happens, so the government folks are going to direct you to USA Jobs. They may even give you a specific job number. Oh, like we've talked about this. Look for this in USA Jobs and apply, right? So that's usually they need to use that portal of usajobs.gov. And you can, if you're interested in federal jobs, you can create an account on that. That website has gotten much better over the years. So even if you're a little bit frustrated with it, sometimes it's the best it's ever been. I'm just going to say that. And they're constantly improving it. But yeah, so for the federal folks, but feel free to offer. You never know what the current situation is. Also, maybe some employers have a little more leeway. Federal employers might have a little more leeway than others to take your resume. So, it just may happen. All right. I'm going to talk a little bit about follow-up, right? If you are really liking the conversation you're having with this person, the rep, ask for their business card. May I take your card? Could I have your card? They may offer it. That's great too, right? If you have a business card, write them the next day, either that evening or the next day. So the fair's on a Wednesday. By Thursday, send a follow-up thank you, okay? Especially if you're really interested. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the time you took to talk about this internship. They may have taken your resume. I'd say it's also okay to attach your resume again and say, I know you took my resume just for your convenience. I'm attaching an electronic copy. You always want to make it for their convenience, right? Think about the hundreds, maybe thousands of people they have to talk to during a recruiting season, okay? So you always want to make it good. If you're sending an electronic copy of your resume, tell me what format should that be in? PDF. Thank you. Locks it in. Nothing shifts, right? How should you label that PDF? Name. Yep, absolutely. Your name and resume. That's great. There's a pet peeve among recruiters. I will tell you this. They get so many PDFs that just say resume, and they have to go in and rename it, and they have to look at your name and make sure they spell it right. And imagine doing that hundreds of times. It gets annoying, right? So any of your documents should have your name. You could even say, Brian Rowe, American University resume, fall 2024. If you want to get super, that's as long as your name is like the first thing. That is a pet peeve of recruiters. I will tell you that. Now, let's say you had a conversation and it was good. You're not that after kind of talking and clarifying, you're not that, it's like, okay, job. But maybe it's not in your, top, you're not that enthusiastic. I would still write them to thank them. Thank you very much. I enjoyed the conversation and learning more about the position that we spoke about. I would follow up with everyone because you also never know. What if that recruiter says, I know we talked about this job, but hey, I have another thing I want you to look at. Take a look at that. And you might be like, this is my perfect internship, or this is my perfect job, right? So it's, even if the one specific thing you talked about isn't quite up your alley, as we say, there might be something else. So maintain a very positive professional interaction with that recruiter. Question. Yes. Yep. Thank you so much, for speaking with me yesterday. I do want to let you know that I have applied through your portal, your website, or whatever for it and named the position, right? Because again, they may have had lots of conversations about different roles. So you just making it easy, it's all right there. They don't have to hunt. Absolutely let them know.
I just
Perfect.
quickly check. If people start kind of filtering out, we're going to send a follow-up email. So if you didn't check in, just please find me before you go so I can get your info to check in. We're obviously recording this. We'll share the recording, the slides, and some additional information. So I want to make sure it's getting to you all. But any other questions?
Yeah. What questions do you have? Question.
I noticed the representatives was on the employer list.
Mhm.
What does that look like? It's obviously not every office.
Right. So that's kind of the house, not like rep so and so or right. So that tends to be right. That's going to be a central office that's going to be able to talk about the process. They may have specific. They produce a weekly digest of openings,
Oh,
for
yeah.
instance. Yep. So they may be able to talk specifically about that. Sometimes you want to ask about benefits, like that. Those would be good. You may talk about, here's my kind of political alignment, what I'm interested in, or, you may want to ask specific questions about a member. They may or may not be able to be specific about that, but they may also talk about the resources to help you connect with members quite well there. So,
And then if, just to follow up,
Mhm.
like if you want to get a job with the CIA or if you want to get a job with the House,
Mhm.
that's your top.
Mhm.
Should you go right to them when you get to the job fair?
Yep. Okay. I usually recommend, let's say you're getting there 1:30, so early in the day. Depends how good you feel about that kind of professional introduction. If you're a little bit nervous and you're like, I'm feeling a little rusty, maybe go to your third employer first. Have it, kind of warm up, right? And then go to your first. Again, some employers are very high profile employers that are going to have a longer line. You'll see it. We tend to put CIA in the corner
More space, they have more space.
because they will attract kind of a bigger group, right? So there's a few other employers like that over the years, it tends to be the ones you've all heard of and they make TV shows about maybe or something like that, right? But yeah.
And just to chime in too, so the job fair next week is obviously it's our biggest event of the semester, but we do host a couple of networking receptions, and our November networking reception is the intelligence community. When you hear that term, it can be assumed CIA will be there. They're going to be at this networking reception too, so it's another opportunity if you connect at the fair to connect again at the reception.
Those networking events are a little different. We don't have time to kind of
Yeah.
talk about that, but it's not a job fair. There's not tables and, it's more
More
mix and
casual.
mingle conversations. Do these orgs that come to the networking events have openings? Probably. But they'll also be able to give you a lot of very strategic information about the field, maybe about interest areas. If you're interested in national security and intelligence, obviously you can't find those folks on LinkedIn to set up an informational interview, right? Like that's not how it works. But these events, it's very nice. Also, hey, I don't see this particular agency listed on the website. Some of them have asked us not to put them on the website until
CIA, you'll never see the CIA on
right.
The
But,
job fair, yes, because it's the big event.
Yeah.
A lot of other stuff.
But yeah, take a look at our website, the Career Center's website. You'll see these networking events. They tend to have a different focus, right? When is CoGod's? Today,
Career Expo.
CoGod has a career expo today. Now, those are very business focused career employers. They're having about what,
25-ish.
25, yeah. Over in CoGod building, but that's today.
WCL.
Oh, WCL, right. Sorry. You have to go to law school down the street. They needed more space, I guess.
Yep.
Question. The question is, as an international student, can you apply for U.S. government federal jobs, right? Very, very, very few, right? I can think of one agency that may be able to hire, and that's the Voice of America, which provides programming. Otherwise, U.S. citizenship is a requirement. Yes.
If we have other work, apprenticeship, other internships already posting, do we need to disclose those? Should we worry about that time of work at this fair?
Do you mean like you've already applied for things?
I have an apprenticeship right now.
Oh, yeah, sure. I think, again, if they get it. You're a student, right? And students sometimes do multiple internships. People who are working might be here as alums, right? And looking for other jobs. That's totally fine. Yep. It's probably on your resume too. So, yeah. Other questions? All right, folks, thank you very much for attending. I know you're going to be great. You'll see me at the fair, mostly at student check-in. So I'll be right there in the front of the house. Okay.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.